Now, if you want the Cowboys to do something this offseason when it comes to signing a free agent that you've heard of, more than 3 of them, since that's all they've done, and if we're being honest, not many people know who Ryan Nall is. Let's show the Jones boys, looking at you, Steven, that you want that. Like the video to show your support right now. Today's Cowboys report, 5 free agents who could start right away, at least, well, once they learn the playbook, for the Dallas Cowboys. Offense and defensive names are kept in mind here, by the way. Our first name is J.C. Tretter, the center who played for the Browns most recently. I am surprised he is unsigned, and even if you're not out on Tyler Biadasz, I think we would agree that a healthy Tretter is an upgrade over Tyler Biadasz. Now, the why he's unsigned, right? Because it is June now, mid-June. There are some alleged reported concerns over A, the health of his knees, and also just what his role and how his role in the NFLPA impacts his standing. He is the player president head, and even though it's not supposed to be allowed, NFL teams typically don't like that type of stuff because that's just not how they operate. It's how businesses and unions go, right? I'm not anti-Biadasz, by the way, but I do think that adding Tretter to this team would make them better at center. And I think center is the one spot, short-term, long-term, I'm most concerned about. Because Biadasz, we ignored it because of the penalties for Connor Williams. He was a penalty machine too. And even by a more outlandish spot for center, since those guys don't get flagged that much. Tretter, better pass blocker, and a better run blocker. If you're worried about the injuries, I get it. But if you could sign a cheaper one-year deal, worst case, you just go back to Biadasz if Tretter can't actually stay healthy. So that is the first guy I would look at on this list. Not really ordered, but I think Tretter is one of the better free agents out there for the Cowboys. So will Dallas actually go out and sign somebody, ideally someone you've heard of? This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if you're watching on YouTube and the ad break comes here, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in Y for yes, they'll break the trend, or N for no. They're just going to roll over that 22-ish and change $1 million in salary cap space. The ad break comes on YouTube. Pin comment. Head down there. Go vote. Ndamukong Suh, our first defensive player up here, even though he is a hell of a lot older than I think most people tend to realize, he is 35 this year and will turn 36 before the season wraps up. He remains a pretty impactful position. Why he's unsigned? Obviously age. Also, the potential cost of his contract could be an issue. And although I am excited about the long-term upside of Osa Odighizuwa and Neville Gallimore, those guys have never put up the type of production, frankly, nobody on this roster, even if you combine their 2 best years almost, has had the type of production that Suh has put up consistently, even as of late in his NFL career. Is he going to get 6 sacks every year? No, that might dip back down to 3, but he can get 6 tackles for loss for you. That is impactful. Even in a starter rotation, like most teams use defensive linemen, he'd be a great pickup. The Cowboys never shown much interest, so I'm not going to get that excited about it, but Suh would be a great pickup for a team that would show they want to win games right now, that they are desperate, a term that we cannot apply to this team right now. This video, my friends, first aired on Rumble as part of Cowboys Report After Hours. If you want basically every other week segments, live, Rumble only, if you want uncensored videos, follow us for free at rumble.com/CowboysTV. That link is in the comment section, and it's in the description of today's video. Anthony Barr, next up here, who might be a actually pretty realistic name for the Dallas Cowboys as they sit with all that cap space available. At the right price, ATRP, of course, which is how things always work in Dallas. Injuries have begun to add up, and I don't think Barr would be that expensive, making him a pretty logical fit. Obviously, Micah Parsons is your number one linebacker. Duh, we all agree on that. I'm not anti-Vander Esch, but I see a player who, injuries in the past, cheap. I want Jabril Cox to break out, have that incredible second season, but he is still more of a player on the rise, more so than a proven piece. So you want better depth than Luke Gifford, and I think Barr would be at least your second or third best linebacker on your team. The numbers were pretty good last year. The one red flag I have is that Barr is now being hyped as a coverage linebacker. He had 5 pass breakups, 3 INTs, both of which were career highs. Well, he got targeted more in coverage and didn't actually fare that well beyond a unsustainable fluke year when it comes to PBUs and INTs. But he can blitz a little bit. He knows George Edwards well. He's not worth what he was making from Minnesota last year at this point, but we're in June. We're almost to July. Training camp's less than a month away, or about a month away, depending on when your team starts. Cowboys, July 25th. We'll just call it a month. We'll round a little bit. That makes it interesting as a very potentially actually feasible name in an offseason full of lack of action from the Cowboys organization. So keeping it realistic within the Cowboys' price range, self-imposed price range, they could sign anybody, frankly, multiple if they wanted to. They have the money. Name a free agent who you guys want to sign right now in the comments section. Let's go to 2 receivers now. Will Fuller, first up on this list. The Cowboys do not have a true speedy deep threat. Michael Gallup can win downfield. He's banged up. He's been a good X receiver to an extent. He's not the typical X build, is what I mean. James Washington, vertical threat, but not great last 2 years. When Fuller is on the field, which is kind of like Tyron Smith, you can always count on him missing time. He would actually bring the true deep threat, over-the-top speed the Cowboys haven't had in quite a while on this roster. The reason why he's unsigned, guy can't stay healthy. 2020, his best year ever. 879 yards, signs a 1-year, $10 million deal with Miami. Plays in like 1 game. Had injuries, off the field stuff. His mindset has to be right. That's a huge question mark right now for Will Fuller. Producer Jeremy says he's got hamstrings made of cotton candy. It's fair. I'll also make note, he was dinged at the end of 2020 for a suspension for PED usage by allegedly the same trainer DeAndre Hopkins uses. So that's, or used, I should say. So keep that in mind. But cheap 1-year deal speed, I'm not mad at it. Whether you're watching right now on YouTube or on Rumble, we want you guys to subscribe and follow us for free daily videos on America's team. If you love the Cowboys, if you love America, then you need to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that big red button to subscribe. If you're watching on Rumble, hit the big green button to follow us for more free and uncensored videos. That's on the Rumble side. YouTube doesn't like it when I cuss that much. Julio Jones, our next receiver here. Since his release, not a peep that I've heard really on Julio Jones beyond like, here's a good fit logically. It definitely seems like Julio's best days are behind him. But what if he were to find a way to recapture that old form? At minimum, I still think he's better than James Washington. The contract would have to be worked out, and the regression from Julio has been real. Dude got outplayed by Nick Westbrook-Akina last year. You go, who's that? Exactly, that's my point. Julio is not the guy he was in his prime, but receiver is a need short term. Julio, at minimum, would be an unreal veteran leader, I think, for a rather young Cowboys receiving corps. So of these 2 names, we could have gone guys like Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, etc. But of these 2 receivers, who would you rather have on the Cowboys? Type in JJ for Julio Jones or WF for Will Fuller. Bonus free agent target now, because it's kind of a starter, kind of not. It's receiver Chester Rogers, But as a punt returner, it would appear that Jalen Tolbert is in line to be this team's starter at that spot, despite never doing it in college, but looked comfortable was the phrase from Mike McCarthy. But Rodgers did it last year. 7.3 average for Tennessee, could chip in as a kick returner as well. Other names like Deontay Spencer, D.D. Westbrook also fit, but Rodgers has the most experience. Now, that doesn't make him a likely addition. The Cowboys seem to want Tolbert to be that guy, but if he struggles with the drops or whatever in the preseason, Chester Rogers is an under-the-radar name to keep an eye out for.